A tall man in an expensive suit was strolling between the rows of graves, looking at the engravings every once in a while. He was carrying a large bouquet of flowers. Arnold was 40, rich, and alone. But he wasn't thinking about being lonely now. Something else was pulling on him. He saw a familiar name, stopped, and quietly said, "Hi, Mom. It's me, Arnold." Tears poured down his cheeks. He put her favorite flowers on her grave, got onto his knees, and wept. "I'm so sorry, Mom. So sorry. How could I? If only I had known." Suddenly, a little girl about 7 years old came up and asked, "Why are you crying and apologizing? Did she do something bad?" "Yes, I did something bad to my mom. I left her to die alone," he answered, wiping away tears. He looked at the girl and then looked around. He was surprised to see there were no adults nearby. "What's your name? Why are you alone here?" he asked. "I'm Ashley. I live nearby and come every day to get some food money. People at the cemetery are nicer and give me money," she answered. He was more surprised. He got up and looked around. When he was sure there was no one else around, he sat again to be on Ashley's eye level. "You're so small and here alone. Well, why don't we go to the grocery store and buy everything you need?" It was clear she was surprised. People gave her money here, sometimes quite a lot, but no one had ever offered to buy her food. She took Arnold's hand. He felt uneasy in an instant. This child had met him for the first time and agreed to go off with him so easily. Arnold picked out the food that he thought should be enough for her for a week. He got another bag filled with fruits and sweets that kids love. Ashley's face was glowing when she saw it all. "Thank you so much. I've never brought so much food home before," she said, leaving. Arnold looked at the number of bags and wondered how this little frail girl would carry it all home. "Hey, Ashley, you can't carry all that. Why don't I drive you home?" Ashley agreed without thinking. He went the way she told him to, and Arnold drove up to an old, half-decrepit home. "This is your house?" he asked, surprised that someone could live here. She nodded. They were met by a messy woman whose age was hard to determine. "You're early today. Who's this with you?" she asked Ashley. "Hello, my name's Arnold. I brought you some food that should last a week." "A week?" she laughed. "You don't know Ashley. She looks small and thin, but she eats for 3. That's only enough for a couple days." Arnold didn't expect to hear that. "First, you could have said thank you. Second, Ashley's a child. You should feed her, not the other way around. She walks around the cemetery asking for money to buy food while you just sit here and wait to see what she brings back," Arnold said, raising his voice. "Feed her? I care for her here. That's more than enough. Life isn't easy, so she should get used to it." The situation got tense. Arnold was getting ready to say something horrible to her, to say what he thought of her, but Ashley spoke up. "Please don't fight." Arnold looked at her and all his anger disappeared. "All right, I'll bring more food in a couple days," he said goodbye, and left. He thought about how this little girl who should only be thinking about candy, braids, cartoons, and dolls was getting food for her entire family the whole drive home. She had touched him deep in his soul. Arnold decided he couldn't leave her there and would help. He started visiting her every week. He brought food, toys, school supplies, and even clothes. He did everything he could so she wouldn't have to walk the streets and ask for money. One day, Ashley asked why he was crying at his mother's grave and was apologizing. He told her his story. He never knew his father and was raised just by his mother. They didn't have much, but she always tried to make sure he had everything he needed. When he turned 18, his father appeared out of nowhere. He apologized for abandoning him and begged for a second chance. He wanted to make up for lost time, so he suggested going on a trip together. His mother was absolutely against it. She begged Arnold to stay, but Arnold agreed to go on the trip. They were gone for a long time. His father wasn't rich, but he was educated and bold. He taught his son many things. So Arnold was able to open his own company and became very successful. But he forgot about his mom completely. He forgot the woman who gave him life and showered him with love for 18 years. When he finally decided to go home, she had passed away. That's why he was apologizing at her grave. Ashley looked at him sadly. "I'm sorry, but you were really bad," she whispered. "I know, dear. I never should have forgotten. And I had to take care of her. I regret it terribly, and it tortures me," he said and sighed heavily. "What about you? Tell me your story," he asked her. "I've never seen my dad. I just live with my mom. She was good and loved me. But she died, and my Aunt Rebecca took me. She's not always nice, but she takes care of me. I don't have anyone else." That's when Arnold started thinking about adopting Ashley. "I left my mom when she needed me. Now Ashley needs me. I can't leave her, and I won't survive if something happened and I could have helped," he thought. After making his decision, he talked to her about it. Her eyes lit up. "That means you'd be my dad? I'd have a dad?" she said happily. "I'd like that," he said with a smile. After getting her agreement, Arnold went to talk to her Aunt Rebecca. To his shock, she said yes without any convincing. After her sister's death, she felt bad for Ashley and took her in. But Ashley became a burden. Rebecca had never cared for anyone and had a carefree lifestyle, so Ashley's presence caused lots of inconveniences, so he'd be happy to get rid of her. Arnold had all the documentation filled out quickly. Ashley moved to his large, beautiful home where she had her own wonderful room. She didn't want for anything anymore. Now she only had to worry about what was age appropriate. He took care of the rest. Her beloved father that she finally found. Since Ashley came into his life, Arnold rethought his own. He understood there was much more important things in life than his company and money. Arnold tried to give her as much attention as possible. They walked together, read together, and traveled together. Arnold was given another present by fate soon after. He met a wonderful woman who proposed to him after a little while. Now he had a daughter and a wife, and Ashley had a mother. Arnold realized how important love and being loved was, and how incredible it was to be surrounded by loved ones. Now family was his #1 priority, and that would never change.